Stop scrolling. Before you spend another coin, you need to hear this. Because somewhere in everyday circulation, a simple Roosevelt dime is sitting in someone's pocket change that is actually a hidden treasure, a silent fortune waiting to be noticed. Most people will never even realize it. Someone just walked out of a gas station after receiving change, completely unaware they were handed a coin worth more than a used car. And this is exactly how these stories begin. Do not spend this coin, because what looks ordinary could instantly change everything you believe about pocket change. Check your pocket right now, because in today's video, we are revealing the top 5 most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever found in America. Each one has been discovered in places so ordinary that it feels impossible. Coin jars, bank rolls, flea markets, and even loose change that was nearly spent without a second thought. Collectors are competing for these coins in quiet auctions where prices rise in silence. Few people talk about them because once the truth spreads, these coins disappear from circulation even faster. Every coin you're about to see becomes rarer, more mysterious, and more valuable than the last. And the final coin will shock collectors in a way no one expects. Stay with me, because what happens next will change the way you look at every dime forever. Don't blink. This is coin number 1th because of the speed and pressure the Denver Mint was using that year. Finding a 2004 D Roosevelt dime with fully defined torch bands is incredibly difficult. Most of the coins struck that year came out weak. The details were soft, the bands blended together, and the overall quality simply wasn't there. That's why collectors pay such close attention to this one feature. Take your coin and look closely at the reverse side. Right in the center you'll see the torch. Across the torch are 2 horizontal bands. If those bands are fully separated, sharp, and clearly visible from edge to edge, you may be looking at what collectors call a full band specimen. And that's where things get interesting. Most 2004 D dimes in circulation will never qualify. The strikes were simply too weak. But when one does survive with strong details and exceptional preservation, the value can jump dramatically. Now let's talk about the hidden treasure that almost nobody checks for. Die varieties. When minting dies begin to wear out, crack, or shift under pressure, they can leave behind tiny markers on the coins they produce. To the average person, these differences look insignificant. To serious collectors, they can mean the difference between a common dime and a highly sought-after rarity. Look carefully at the date, the lettering, and the mint mark. Under magnification, some 2004 D dimes show subtle doubling, unusual die polishing lines, or small die cracks that identify them as special varieties. These are the kinds of details that often go unnoticed for decades. And that's exactly why so many valuable coins remain hidden. Think about it. Millions of these dimes were produced. They passed through cash registers, vending machines, piggy banks, and coffee cans. Most people never stopped to examine them. They were just another dime. But every now and then, one turns out to be something extraordinary. The amazing part is that many of the highest value examples. Coin number 2, we have a coin that looks like an ordinary Roosevelt dime at first glance, but the story behind it makes it truly extraordinary. This is the 1971 San Francisco mint no mint mark era Roosevelt dime. If you're not familiar with the world of coin collecting, you might be wondering how the absence of a tiny mint mark could make such a huge difference. The answer is simple. Rare minting mistakes are exactly what collectors are willing to pay big money for. Normally, proof dimes struck at the San Francisco Mint carry an S mint mark, indicating where the coin was produced. However, in 1971, a small number of proof dimes were accidentally struck without the S mint mark. This unusual mistake created one of the most sought-after Roosevelt dime errors in modern U.S. coinage. What's even more surprising is that these coins look completely normal to the average person. Most people would never notice the missing mint mark and might spend the coin without a second thought. But experienced collectors know that small details like this can turn an ordinary dime into a valuable treasure. That's why coin collectors carefully inspect older Roosevelt dimes. If you happen to find a 1971 proof dime missing its San Francisco S mint mark, you could be holding a coin worth far more than its face value. Demand for these coins remains strong among collectors. While lower-grade examples can sell for hundreds of dollars, the finest specimens can bring astonishing prices at auction. For example, one 1971 no mint mark Roosevelt dime, Graded proof 69 cameo by PCGS, sold for an impressive $4,140. Just imagine that. A coin with a face value of only 10 cents selling for thousands of dollars because of a tiny minting error. Stories like this are the reason experts always recommend checking your old coins before spending them. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures aren't locked away in a vault. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice them. We have a coin that most people would overlook as ordinary, but this tiny mistake can sometimes be worth thousands of dollars. This is the San Francisco mint-no-mint mark era Roosevelt dime. During the 1970s and 1980s, a number of proof coins were accidentally produced without their mint mark. That small oversight has turned these dimes into highly valuable collectibles today. If you have any older Roosevelt dimes, it's worth taking a closer look at them. Coins missing their mint mark can be worth many times more than their face value, especially to collectors searching for rare mint errors. Even in average proof grades, these coins can sell for $500 or more. However, one particular example, graded proof 69 cameo by PCGS, sold at auction for an incredible $4,140. Just imagine it. A mistake so small that it went unnoticed at the mint has now become a hidden treasure for a lucky collector. And that's exactly why coin experts always recommend checking your old coins carefully, because sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight. Before you spend another dime, you need to hear this. Because some 1970 Roosevelt dimes are worth far more than their face value, and most people have no idea what to look for. Let's jump right in. First up is the 1970 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark. This means the coin was struck in Philadelphia. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary dime, but some of these coins feature a valuable error known as a double die reverse. What does that mean? It means certain parts of the design on the reverse, or backside of the coin, appear doubled. The easiest place to spot this error is in the lettering. Take a close look at the words, United States of America. If you notice clear doubling in the letters, you may have found a valuable coin. Collectors are always searching for examples of this error because genuine double dies are much rarer than normal coins. Now let's move on to the 1970 D Roosevelt dime. The D mint mark tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Just like the Philadelphia version, some Denver dimes also show doubling on the reverse. Again, you'll want to inspect the lettering carefully. The doubling can appear in different areas of the text, and several varieties have been discovered over the years. Many collectors overlook these coins because the doubling can be difficult to see with the naked eye. That's why using a magnifying glass or a USB coin microscope can make a huge difference. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket change that most people would spend without a second thought, only to discover it's actually a collectible error coin worth real money. That's exactly why checking your 1970 dimes is worth the effort. The next time you come across a 1970 or 1970 D Roosevelt dime, don't spend it right away. Take a closer look at the reverse lettering. That small detail could be the difference between 10 cents and a valuable collector's item. And remember, the rarest treasures are often hiding in plain sight. Take a look at this 1970 D Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it may not seem like anything special, but collectors know exactly what they're looking at. This coin features a double die reverse error. If you look at the grading label, you'll notice the letters DDR. That stands for double die reverse, meaning the design on the back of the coin was impressed twice during the die making process, creating visible doubling in the lettering and details. But that's not the only reason this dime is valuable. This particular coin was graded Mint State 66, also known as MS 66. For those who don't know, the coin grading scale ranges from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. A grade of 66 is considered extremely high and indicates that the coin is in outstanding condition. When you combine a rare mint error with such a high grade, collectors are willing to pay serious money. In fact, this 1970 D double die reverse dime sold for more than $130. And believe it or not, that's only the beginning. Now let's move on to another fascinating coin. This is also a 1970 D Roosevelt dime, but this one has a dramatic mint error that is impossible to ignore. The coin was struck twice, creating what collectors call a double strike error. Even more impressive, the second strike landed about 90% off center. Just imagine the coin being struck once normally and then getting hit a second time almost completely outside its original position. The result is a wild-looking error that instantly catches the eye. Because of its unusual appearance, this coin probably wouldn't even fit properly into a standard dime roll. It's such an extreme error that it looks more like a conversation piece than everyday pocket change. Collectors love major off-center and double-strike errors because every example is unique. This remarkable dime ended up selling for more than $75. This 1992 P. Roosevelt dime may look like just another coin in circulation. But before you dismiss it, take a closer look. There are a few details that make this specimen worth examining. This particular coin is in above-average circulated condition and still retains reflective surfaces on both the obverse and reverse. It appears to have seen only limited circulation throughout its life. Looking at the obverse, there are no major scratches or heavy abrasions. Only a small number of fine hairlines can be seen near Roosevelt's profile and along the fields close to the rim. The lettering remains sharp and well-defined, while most of the design elements are still impressively preserved. Along the upper rim, small specks of toning are visible. However, one feature stands out more than the others. Near the 9 o'clock position, a noticeable patch of verdigris can be seen extending onto the letter B in Liberty. The edges of the coin also show signs of aging with darker, weathered tones. Now let's flip the coin over. The reverse displays an attractive satin luster across both the fields and design elements. The torch, olive branch, and oak branch remain sharply struck and show excellent detail. In fact, there is virtually no visible wear on this side of the coin. Only a minor scratch on the torch and a few small abrasions in the lettering prevent it from appearing nearly flawless. Overall, this dime has excellent eye appeal and is a great example of a well-preserved circulated coin. But the big question is, what's it worth? When it comes to the 1992 P. Roosevelt dime, the highest prices are reserved for coins in exceptional condition. The most valuable example sold by Heritage Auctions was a stunning MS 69 specimen with full bands on the reverse. That coin sold for just under $500 back in 2014. Based on current market estimates, a similar top-grade example could be worth around $350 or more today, depending on demand. However, these next dimes are the kind that collectors dream about finding. San Francisco Mint Roosevelt dime with no mint mark. During the 1970s and 1980s, a small number of proof Roosevelt dimes were accidentally struck without their intended mint marks. Because these coins were never supposed to leave the mint in that condition, they have become some of the most sought-after modern U.S. coin errors. If you're searching through old proof sets, always keep an eye out for Roosevelt dimes from this era that are missing their mint marks. Even average examples can sell for more than $500. But one outstanding specimen, graded proof 69 Cameo by PCGS, reached an astonishing price of $4,140. Imagine finding a coin like that tucked away in an old collection. Moving on to number 5, we have another San Francisco Mint rarity, the 1970 no mint mark Roosevelt dime. Just like the 1971 issue, this proof coin was struck without the mint mark that should have appeared on the coin. Collectors are willing to pay huge premiums for examples in top condition. In fact, one perfect, deep Cameo specimen sold for an incredible $5,750. That's a huge payoff for a coin most people would overlook. The 1992 silver Roosevelt dime error. Officially, the United States Mint stopped producing silver dimes after 1964. Beginning in 1965, dimes were supposed to be made from a copper-nickel clad composition. A small number of 1,992 dimes were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets. Because of this production mistake, these coins are among the rarest Roosevelt dimes ever discovered. So how can you tell if you have one? The easiest method is to weigh the coin. A genuine silver dime will weigh approximately 2.50 grams, while a standard clad dime weighs about 2.27 grams. Another clue can be found on the edge. Most clad dimes reveal a visible copper,